So there's one opinion that I don't agree with, and that is that since Hans cheated when he was 13 and 16 years old, and obviously he's cheated more than that, but Mono Dub subscribed. Thank you. But what I mean is, a lot of people are saying that 6 years ago and 3 years ago, Hans cheated on the internet. Therefore, if somebody accuses him of cheating later in life, then he was cheating because he's a cheater. See, I don't agree with that. I mean, either you cheated or you didn't, and you can't just lump everything into one thing. I mean, if somebody cheated when they were 12 and I play them when they're 25 years old and I lose, and I'm like, well, they cheated when they were 12, so he cheated against me. There's no evidence of that. I don't like losing. King's Gambit 805, thanks for the 100 centidues. So I don't agree with, the argument that Hans is a cheater and therefore he always cheats. And there's no evidence yet that he's ever cheated in over-the-board tournaments. There's a video that some FM made showing how Hans played really well in some norm tournament, but none of the top players think that video has any weight. And also, as Karen would point out, when you're 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, that's different than when you're 19 years old. So you can imagine a 14-year-old you, assuming you're older than that, some of you aren't, and then like a 19-year-old you, those were different people. Maybe one of them would do something and one wouldn't, if you know what I mean. Maybe the 19-year-old would do more crimes. I don't know. That's Karen's point, is Hans was a kid and now he's not a kid. So if he cheated as a kid doesn't mean he cheats now. Manuel Guedes subscribed. BK Emeritus subscribed. Now, there's another point which I've been making a lot before Magnus refused to play yesterday, which was big news, which is if you want to assume Hans cheated because, number one, he's cheated in the past, and number two, because Magnus said so without saying so, but he believes it, obviously. If you're like, that's good enough for me, I have a guy who cheated in the past and the world champion indicating he cheated, so that's good enough for me. That's all the evidence I need. I think, when somebody's cheating at anything, but at chess in this instance, the person who decides they're cheating isn't their opponent. The opponent can think they're cheating, and the opponent might be right. But if the arbiters and the organizers and the chess federations are like, what are you talking about? You don't really have a good case then. You need some real evidence to make such accusations, to withdraw from tournaments, to refuse to play and forfeit. Magnus's behavior in this instance hasn't been very good. And that's even if you assume that Hans was cheating. If you're like, Hans was cheating, I know it. Rawr. You know everything. I know Hans was cheating. Even if you know Hans was cheating, that doesn't mean Magnus can do whatever he wants. He can't unilaterally say, I'm not playing Hans, I'm withdrawing from the tournament, I'm going to forfeit against him. That's all just silly. So Magnus isn't doing this well, even if he's right. Nobody thinks Magnus is right. When I say nobody, I mean the top players. If you talk to the top 200 players in the world and ask them, did Hans cheat in the Sinkfield Cup? They all say no. I mean, if he's cheating online 3 years ago, that's no reason to lose him in the Sinkfield Cup and then withdraw. If he's cheating in the Sinkfield Cup, okay, then that's different. Then, that Magnus is almost